Welcome everybody, and today we're taking a look at the fifth and final film of the Tales of the Wild West, collection number 2 box set from Imprint Films, and it is 1975's Posse. So this is directed by Kirk Douglas. I think he only did one other film, but I've not seen that one yet. And this is a revisionist western, clocking in at 92 minutes long. Not just directed by Kirk Douglas, but he also produced it and stars in this, as I've seen 21 other films from him before. Favourites would be the likes of Ace in the Hole, Paths of Glory, Out of the Past, 7 Days in May, and Champion. You've also got Bruce Dern, who I've seen in 29 other films now. He was also in Will Penny, which was an earlier film in this box set. You've also got Bo Hopkins, who we talked about earlier this month with Night Shadows. And finally got Luke Askew, who is also in Will Penny, although in a much more minor role than this one. So when US Marshal Howard Nightingale and his posse capture infamous train robber Jack Strawhorn, it's not just justice that serves, but Nightingale's personal ambition. His upcoming election for the US Senate now seems in the bag, but things are complicated when Strawhorn stages a daring escape and kidnaps Nightingale, setting a whopping ransom of $40,000. In order to raise this hefty price, Nightingale may have to do the unthinkable and choose between his life and his reputation. So this is one of several revisionist westerns that I've now seen, and much like other films in that kind of genre, this sticks with going against the tropes of the western genre, while also having a cynical and dark tone that is coupled with grit, violence, and decent thematic weight. The cast is also great. The cinematography is excellent, especially when it comes to scenes involving a train, as there is a camera that has been attached to the top of the train, and yeah, it just looks really, propulsive in terms of when the train is going forward or backwards, as part of one scene is involving. And yeah, it's just really, really cool that they were able to attach it to this authentic enough looking train. Not sure if it's an actual, old 19th century train or not, but it looks the part, and yeah, to have that kind of cinematography really aids the action and the movement of that vehicle. The action scenes themselves are also highly entertaining. There's a scene where the train is going backwards and there's a carriage on fire, due to explosives being on board. Massive explosions happen at least once or twice, and yeah, to have that happening while the train is in motion is really, really cool. There's also a scene where Kirk Douglas's character leaps from the horse onto the train on the front of it as well, while in motion, which again looks the part. Not sure if it was actually Kirk Douglas, because he was obviously quite old at this point in his career. I think he was about 50 at this point. So yeah, doubt it would have been him, but it still looks the part, and yeah, it's really, really entertaining. There's also good gun shootouts as well, plenty of violence to those shootouts as well, and the sound on top of that is also really well done. The score is good as well. It's done by Maurice Jarre, who I've seen plenty of films from before with his scores, and he again does a really, really good western score to this. The production is overall solid. The pacing is on point. The finale is satisfying, and the themes are well explored, as well as yeah, it explores the likes of money corrupts all, and his personal ambition with, sacrificing the lives of other people and such. So yeah, overall, really, really surprised by this, because even though it's not got a elaborate narrative to it, there's not, I wouldn't say, a great deal of depth to some of the characters and the like, and the plot is really rather quite stripped back. I just kind of appreciated that, to be honest, because there's a lot of revisionist westerns out there that are quite laborious, unnecessarily long at times and the like. So yeah, for this to have really, really an energetic plot to it, while only also being 92 minutes, just really does help everything else of this come to light, quite frankly. So yeah, this is going to get a 4.5 out of 5. I'm surprised as anybody else, quite frankly, because this box set has been fairly consistent, not remarkable like the previous Wild West box set from Imprint, but still really rather consistent, as most of the films have, well, all of the films have been between 3 out of 5 and 4 out of 5, and right at the end, this comes out as being my favourite of the lot. So yeah, and it's also got a 1080p high definition presentation, 239:1 aspect ratio, LPCM 2.0 mono audio, English language soundtrack, and English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing. You've also got a couple of extras. You've got A Tinkling Twang, the Western Soundscapes of Maurice Jarre, video essay by film historian and filmmaker Daniel Creamer, from 2026, and a theatrical trailer as well. So yeah, like I said, this gets 4.5 out of 5, so he's my favourite of the box set. In second place would be The Revengers, but basically joining it would be Will Penny, so joint second slash third. In fourth would be Five Card Stud, which is a film we've seen before and talked about via Vinegar Syndrome, so that's why I've not talked about it with this box set, but it still is ultimately a 3.5 out of 5 film. And in last, but still not as bad as the last place position for the previous box set, would be Something Big. Not a great film by any means, but still a better Western comedy than Waterhole number 3. And yeah, ultimately, I feel like this box set is a bit more consistent than the prior box set, because that box set had films from between 2.5 stars to 4.5, whereas it's 3 to 4.5. But for most of it, it's between 3 and 4. So on the whole, this is a more consistent box set, but that previous box set did ultimately have the better films with Tin Star, Nevada Smith, and The Professionals. Although this one was probably the more enjoyable one to go through, because I have seen 2 of the films in that box set before, whereas in this one I've only seen the one. And even then, the one that I have seen in this box set, I wasn't going to watch again, because I already own a version of it before that I have reviewed in the past as well. So yeah, overall, I feel like this box set has really been a consistent and an enjoyable one, and yeah, for the most part, has been a good one as well, with Will Penny, The Revengers, and Posse being yeah, definitely worth the watch, and will sit proudly in my collection alongside the first box set. So yeah, but nonetheless, if you haven't seen Posse before, then I do highly recommend it, especially if you are into your revisionist westerns. But if you have seen it, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.